and supporters of this violence.
Eseli says he suspects there are groups behind some of the street violence during protests, and without naming any specific group, said there is an investigation into whether any of the criminal activity on the street was directed or paid for.
We're looking at dozens of organizations and NGOs. The IRS is taking the lead on that, and we are absolutely doing that.
As of today, federal prosecutors have brought about 20 criminal cases, local prosecutors about 30. Now, the majority of the hundreds of arrests that have happened around demonstrations in recent days have been for much less serious issues, like curfew violations or for people accused of refusing to leave protest areas. Now, those cases will be considered by the LA City Attorney's Office, which has already filed a handful of misdemeanor cases. All of the prosecutors say many more criminal charges will be announced in the coming days and weeks. Annabelle, back to you in the studio.
All right, Eric, thank you very much for that update. We appreciate it. Today in Manhattan, federal agents took New York City Controller and mayoral candidate Brad Lander into custody. This video shared by his office shows Lander being escorted from a hallway in a federal immigration courthouse by what appear to be masked agents. The Department of Homeland Security says Lander was arrested for allegedly assaulting law enforcement and impeding a federal law officer. Lander's campaign says he was escorting a person out of an immigration courtroom when the altercation took place. And this comes just days after U.S. Senator Alex Padilla was forcibly removed from that Homeland Security news conference here in L.A. You may remember that. Today, he addressed his Senate colleagues about it in Washington, D.C.
And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, "Why am I being detained?" Not once did they tell me why.
Senator Padilla says he had a scheduled briefing in the federal building last week, which got delayed because of the news conference with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. The senator says National Guard members and FBI agents escorted him into the event and stood with him as he waited to speak. Video shows agents removing Padilla, forcing him to the ground and handcuffing him after the senator tried to ask questions.
If this administration is this afraid of just one senator with a question, colleagues, imagine what the voices of tens of millions of Americans peacefully protesting can do.
Senator Padilla says it's the responsibility of all, regardless of political party, to speak up before it's too late. And right now on our NBC LA website, we have special sections on the LA protests, ICE raids, and immigration, plus more on today's hearing regarding the fate of thousands of National Guard troops here in Southern California. All right, guys, let's go outside and take a live look there at Mount Wilson. It's another warm day out there. Our meteorologist Stephanie Olmo is here with your first alert forecast. Hey, Steph.
Another day. We're talking about sunny skies, warm, hot temperatures, depending where you live, of course. Temperatures in El Monte right now, we're currently sitting at 90 degrees, so we are feeling the heat as we continue late this afternoon. And also, most certainly feeling the heat around the Inland Empire, where you see the numbers close to 100 degrees in spots like Hemet, San Bernardino, 99 in Victorville, 96 in Lancaster, 92 West Covina, currently at 94 in Van Nuys, 86 in downtown LA, and also in Thousand Oaks, temperatures for you in the upper 80s right now. Now, the Inland Empire, as I just pointed out, it's one of the hot areas here late this afternoon. There's a heat advisory that remains in place through tomorrow because of the elevated temperatures, summer-like temperatures. Of course, there's that increased risk of heat-related illness. So definitely take it easy. Definitely want to stay inside and stay hydrated even as we head into tomorrow. But temperatures for this evening, we're still looking at sunny skies. Temperatures in the 90s, low 90s by 6 o'clock this evening. Clear skies holding up. By 7 o'clock, we'll be right back down into the 80s. But later on this week, onshore flow will increase. We get back into that marine layer, that morning clouds and fog, and slightly cooler temperatures. We'll go over that coming up here in just a bit. For now, back to you, Annabelle.
All right, we'll stay tuned for it. Thank you, Steph. President Trump is back in Washington after abruptly leaving the G7 summit as a conflict between Israel and Iran continues. So now the question is, how much will the U.S. get involved? NBC's Monica Alba is in Washington with those details.
Air raid sirens sound in Jerusalem